So here we are live. You're not going to believe what just happened. So I just went on the full intro and then I just looked up and I was just about to add our amazing speaker on and I go, oh, we're not live. But here's the good news. We got to rehearse it. We got to make sure everything was going to flow. So here we are live again with week number 2 with the Branding Co. Justin Cooper. Last week, let me tell you, the golden nuggets that were dropped, 5 key points are going to help you really discover your why, your reason why, whether it be personal, whether it be in a business, whether it be in a team environment, whatever it may be. And we decided to get Justin on for week number 2. And today is about removing the mask, really uncovering the mask, like finding the true you, like what's going on deep inside of you. So we're excited to be tuning in live, whether you're on YouTube or streaming onto the different social media platforms that you're on. But let us know in the comments below. Let us know. It just gets better and better. Let us know in the comments below if you're listening live or you're watching this replay and where you're tuning in from. We love to connect with people all over the world. So let us know whether you're in Sydney, Australia, Perth, UK, America, wherever you are. And we absolutely love it. So I would suggest this. If you haven't yet checked out the Branding Co., check it out and tune in, because we're going to absolutely add a huge amount of value. Are you ready to go, Justin? Big drum roll, please, as we allow Justin to come in from the background. Justin! Hey, Justin.
How you going, buddy?
Yeah, doing great, man. So it was role play number 2. So as we did role play number 1. This is why I love live. And then I looked up and was like, oh, it said go live. It was flashing at me. I was like, we're not live.
That was good.
But we're here.
Your second version was much better than the first version, so you nailed it.
Oh,
right?
good. Well, that's a good thing. We can only get better, right?
Exactly.
So welcome, Justin.
Thank you, buddy.
So much positive feedback. I know you were streaming this live onto your platforms, but for us, our audience, so many positive feedbacks, people reaching out saying, wow, he was great. And I was just saying, look, head over, check him out, ask him some questions. You really, you added so much value into people's lives in a very practical way. And that's what I loved about it. People could walk away and go, oh, now I get it. Like, that's how you discover your why. So we're pumped up and excited for tonight's topic, which is removing the mask. And I was laughing because allow everybody else to do the same thing.
I have one ready for me right here.
Great. I love it. It's gold. It's gold.
You pick your mask. On a certain day, you might be wearing this one. On another day, you might be wearing that one.
I love it.
But I'm really excited about today's topic as well, because this goes beyond business and it goes more into mindset, but it's so relevant to business. Whatever walk of life you're from, we all tend to wear a mask when we go into work. And my background is corporate. So I spent the first 15 years of my working life working for big American corporates. And you had to wear a bit of a mask to protect yourself. You were a tiny cog in a big wheel, and you moved your way up the ladder, the greasy pole, and you had to be a certain way. You brought as much of your personality as you could to work, but ultimately,
When you say mask, what do you mean by mask?
Well, what I mean is you're one way at home, you're another way at work often, right? That's quite often. So we tend to put suits on, right? If anyone's done any personal development work, they'll know that we have a tendency to use our experience as a bit of a suit of armor. So you might have a trade, or you might have studied, might have gone to university, you might have a degree, you might have X number of years experience doing a certain thing, and you wear it like a badge of honor, but it can end up looking a little bit like this. It's that, well, I'm a classic example, right? I was working in marketing, had been working as senior marketer for global companies for a number of years, reached the giddy heights of marketing director. And that was always my goal, right? I want to make marketing director by a certain age. And I got there a couple of years earlier. And I was like, right, great. But then it was like, what next? I really just focused on that as the thing I wanted to achieve for such a long time. I didn't know what was next. So there's a little bit of a sense of, well, where do I go next? And in order to get there, I was pretty used to wearing the mask. I had this sort of professionalism about me. I'd go into meetings and they say, "Oh, Justin, you nailed that presentation. You look so calm." Well, it's not true, because I was like the duck, underneath the legs were going like this. Yeah. Just as well I was wearing a suit. Otherwise, you wouldn't see the sweat come off my armpits. But fake it. This whole expression, "fake it till you make it," I think it's dangerous. I think that's the way things used to be. There is a balance, of course, between confidence and pushing yourself, and that, I think, aspect of fake it till you make it's absolutely right. But the fact that we have to use that term "fake it," for me, that means we're putting one of these on without realizing it. Now, where does the mask come from? The mask comes from our parents, well-meaning parents that tell us who to be. You're part of this family. This is the way we do things. It comes from our schooling. We might have a favorite teacher that was really trying to mold us. Then we go into work, and then we might have a mentor at work. Doesn't matter where we are, whether we're working in an office or whether we're working on a site somewhere. People are looking, trying to encourage us and trying to make sure that we're really pushing ourselves and telling us who to be. And that's what happens. We end up taking it on board and going, "Oh, okay, that's who I am." So today I've got 6 tips, because last week was 5. Today I'm going to do 6.
You're adding more value today,
adding
right?
More value. And you know what? Next week, if you invite me back, I might just give you 7.
Well, let's see what the audience say.
All right. Let's see if they like these 6.
Exactly.
So yeah, look, I'd like to pick up on a statement I made at the tail end of last week's discussion around discovering your why. And my first piece of advice, it's not a tip, but it's a statement. Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. And this statement was attributed to Oscar Wilde. There's no proof he ever said it. But you know what? It really resonates, because that is really about discovering your inner gift and being proud of what that gift is, and really being proud of who you are, and taking the mask off and going, you know what? Just because I've got, in my case, at the time it was 25 years of experience in marketing, doesn't mean I have to remain a marketer for the rest of my life. And then I got to 30 plus years of experience, and it was like really ingrained then. And I was having this conversation with someone the other day, and I think it's true for a lot of people. They are tagged with a particular person that they are, whether it's their character at work or the fact that they are like in my case, a marketing consultant or marketer, and you want to shift. And about 8 years ago, I decided I wanted to shift. I wanted to shift into purpose. And it took me a while to allow myself to be that person and to really show up for my clients, because I was still thinking, oh, I'm the brand expert, I'm the marketing expert. And what I found was, when I let go of that and I relaxed in my coaching sessions and I allowed my intuition to tell them what the answer was they were looking for to help them, that's when the gold came. And it wasn't when I was being a coach, in inverted commas, which was relatively new at the time for me, or being a marketing expert. It was when I was being myself. That's when I got the best gold. So my first tip for you today is, think about a time when you did your best work and ask yourself 4 questions. So the first tip has 4 elements. In fact, you're getting way more than 7 tips today, 6 tips. The first one is, think about that time when you did a really good job and you're really proud of it, and ask yourself, what was the environment? What was going on around me when that happened? So think about the environment in which you were doing your best work. Were there a set of circumstances where it all felt, absolutely perfect for you? What were they? Was it the way in which you turned up to the discussion? Was it what you were wearing? Was it how you set your mindset before you went into that discussion or that meeting or that sales pitch. What was the environment? What was the environment? So that's number one. Number two, as part B, if you like, of tip number one, what did you do in that interaction with that person or in that situation that made a difference? Think about it. So first part of it is environment. Second part of it is what did you do to make a difference? And that's really going to help you remember when you were in the zone. And number three, or part C of tip one, is how did you do it? What did you actually do in that situation? In what way were you working to get the best result? And then finally, what was the reaction? How did people respond that made you know in that moment that you were in the zone? This is about being in the zone because you're being yourself, being the real you, as I put it. So that's the first element.
You know what's really cool about that, Justin, if I can just chime in, when you can really just understand who you are as a person and then go out to the marketplace, and what I have found from my experience is not worry about what other people are going to think, how they're going to prejudge you, what they're going to say. That's when you really can, discover, pull off that mask, like you said, and given those points that you just have given, it really clarifies a lot, because we're in a day and age, and let's face it, right? We're in a day and age where social media, like we all have presence on social media. It's all about building personal brand. It's all about, should I post this? Should I say that? Like, what if I do? What are people going to think? And I just say, just do whatever you're going to do. Like, just be yourself, but be good at whatever you do. And the right people will gravitate towards you, and the people that don't follow you or aren't cheering you on will just move away, or they'll still hang around and try to tear you down. So either way, they're going to be there for you. So I like those tips, that the way you've broken them down.
It's really taking yourself to that time when you did your best work.
Yeah.
And so if you're ever struggling, you're thinking, oh, I can't do this, go back to that time when you really nailed it. And that last part of the part D, what was the reaction? That's testimonials, right? That's people saying, you know what, buddy, that was amazing. You were fantastic and you made a difference to me. And thank you so much from my heart.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to start my week with a coaching session this morning. And the feedback I got, I was tearing up, because it was so beautiful, the reaction. We're going through a journey with this lady, and it was sort of part 3 of a 4-part process, and she is loving it. And because she's loving it, I'm really getting into it. And we had an amazing session today. And I took off the normal structures. I have a rough guide to where I go through a coaching session. It was a 1-hour session. And I let go of those structures, and we just went deep, and we went really deep on a couple of areas. And she herself is a coach. So I'm kind of like, I'm on my guard a bit, because I'm going, well, this better be good, because she's a coach. So she knows what makes a good coaching session. But, I relaxed. And that's what I was saying. Think about the feedback. Go back and have a look at your testimonials or things that people have told you. That feedback is really powerful for lifting you and reminding you of the time you were in the zone. So that's the first part. Think about it. Tip number 1, think about that time. What was the situation? What was the feedback? What were you doing? How are you doing it? And then see if you can replicate that. And just relax. And the more you replicate, of course, that's when the experience comes in. You go, wow, this is working. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is a bit different.
Right.
And this is tip number 2. What did you dream of doing when you were a child? What did you dream of doing or being when you were a child? Go back to that childlike state, that dreamlike state you had when the world was your oyster, or your lobster, as some people jokingly say. The world is my lobster. And, the sky's the limit, and you could have done anything. What was it you dreamt of doing? Because it's often within those childlike dreams as a kid, and then we get the edges knocked off us. We grow up and we go to school, and then we we have to prove ourselves in the first job we do. But a little bit later, you go, well, actually, what was it? Because it's often in those dreams. So I'll give you personal example. I was criticized for being a dreamer as a kid, right? Big optimist, anything's possible, but Justin, you're not being practical. You got to, this is a tough world, right? You've got to think about things, you've got to be sensible about these things, right? Well, now I'm being paid for being a dreamer, right? I'm a dream catcher. I help people uncover who they really are and help them live their dream lives through the work they do. So the dreamer, the dream catcher, criticized as a kid. Well, I'm now in my 50s and I'm doing that for a job and I'm loving it, right? But I remember teachers just you're not going to amount to anything. You're just a dreamer, right? And I'm sure there are many examples of this. Famous authors and artists. But I work in business. I'm not an artist per se. You can still be a dreamer. So what was it you dreamt of doing as a kid or being? Reconnect with that, because there'll probably be some powerful stuff in there that can inform you as to how you work best now. And it doesn't matter if you're a quantity surveyor or you're an accountant or you're a lawyer. I would argue that if you've got this characteristic within you of being, in my case, a dreamer, or in other people's cases, a fixer, whatever it is that you wanted to do, or an astronaut, whatever that thing was, you can harness some of that that childlike state and bring it into your adult life. And that's the stardust, that's the magic that you can add. And for me, for my money, this is probably the most important tip that I'll give today. And it is not line and length, as they say in cricketing terms. It's not what you expect, but in fact, that's what people are looking for now. They're looking for that little bit of extra that they're not getting from other people. And you can delve into yourself and find out where that dream exists. You can bring it up into your adult life and you can use it. So that's tip number 2.
Love it. That's brilliant. Abdul said,
sorry?
Have a look. Abdul just put a comment up. He said, true, dreaming and fascinating is key. We are taught to stop dreaming as we grow older. Yep. It's a paradigm, the most a lock like jail cell. It creates limitations to our growth. So keep dreaming, keep growing. And it's so true.
Brilliantly said, Abdul. Yeah.
It pulls
as soon as we're often told, I'm a parent with a couple of kids. You've got a family too. One of the worst things you can do is tell your kids they can't do something. And I caught myself doing that the other day. And I was like, no, actually change that. You can do anything you like, but just do it in your way, because you're trying to do it in someone else's way and it's not working.
That's right.
And my daughter thought about it and she went, oh, it's normal kind of reaction. Yeah, you wouldn't know, Dad. But then she sort of thought about it and then she found another way of doing it that was much more aligned with who she is. So that's it. It's reconnecting with that dreamlike state, that dreaming and that childlike state that can really help us in our adult life make a difference. And all kinds of benefits come from that. It's more fun. It lands better with your customer and with the people you work with, because you're being yourself and people go, well, I don't know what you're smoking, but I want some. You seem to be having a lot of fun there, and that's, that's, as I say, that's like the stardust.
Yeah.
So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3, ask a family member or a childhood friend to describe you when you were younger. Yeah. So have a think about that for a moment. Who were you like when you were a kid? Now, you might have gone through tough times. I come from a broken family, divorced family, and I remember being very sad as a kid at times. I was very young when it happened. But this dreamer came out and would come through in the way that I played, in the way that I did things at school, and the way my humor came through. I used humor. I loved humor as a device. And I was always like laughing and trying to get people to laugh. Became a bit of a joker. And that was a bit of one of those. It was hiding a bit of hurt in my soul. But I then had these heroes of comedians, people like Monty Python. I'm showing my age now, but Monty Python, when I was growing up, I could quote their sketches, one of these annoying people that could do that. So if you ask someone to describe best mate, perhaps known you from a kid, I've got someone I know who's literally the oldest friend in the world. Our mums were pregnant at the same time with us, and we were born within 3 weeks of each other. So we've known each other throughout our lives. First 3 weeks, I missed him, obviously, but he knows me really well, and we can pick up a conversation. I can go without seeing him for a year, 2 years. He lives overseas. It doesn't matter. We just pick up. And so ask those people, a close sibling or family friend, what was I like as a kid? Because if you're struggling with answering the second tip, which is what did you dream of being as a kid, there'll be some insights there into what you were really like. And again, you can draw on some of that character and personality that may be knocked out of you to really pick up your game and do things in your own innate, unique way. That's about tapping into that uniqueness and tapping into what I call the real you. So got that? Powerful. Tip number 3?
Absolutely. That was awesome.
All right, tip number 4. I'm going to get quite, ethereal here. What did you forget? Now, there's a fantastic, the question is, what did you forget? There's a fantastic YouTube clip by a writer, philosopher called Alan Watts.
I've heard of Alan Watts.
Yeah, Alan Watts. And people have put his speeches out with some beautiful music and stuff like that. Check out the YouTube clip, What Did You Forget? By Alan Watts, AlanWatts. And what I mean by that is, what did you forget about who you really are? And that's a great one to just catch yourself and go, okay, this is who I've become. There is going to be certain aspects of this that I love. And I'm lucky I've got a great family, and you might have a wonderful partner, or you might live in a wonderful place, community with some really good friends. But what was it about me that I've let go of or I've forgotten? And again, back to my example, I would say the dreamer. When I get stuck, I get too serious. People say to me, they say, Justin, someone said this recently, and I changed it. They said, your LinkedIn picture's too bloody serious. I think of you, I think of that big smile, that cheesy grin that you're always giving, because you're generally a happy, optimistic kind of person. And yet you've got this sort of, trust me, I'm a doctor, kind of stuff going on. Because I thought that would be the right kind of image. So again, are you being yourself, or are you being someone you think someone else might like? I'll say that again. Are you being yourself, or are you being someone that someone else who might buy from you will like? It's a losing streak, trying to be what you think other people want you to be in order to make a sale or to be successful at something. It's like jumping at shadows. Literally, you make one leap towards it and it's changed and it's moved on.
Yeah.
A bit like what Steve Jobs said about, if I listen to what my customers wanted, I'd never get there, because by the time I've created it, they've moved on and want something else, because that's how long it takes to develop technology. So, he's a good example of someone who stuck to his guns. I mean, he wasn't a happy chappy. There's a lot of stories about him crushing his rivals, and I know he died pretty sad, I think. Pushed his family away and stuff, but he was very driven, and he was very clear about what he wanted to create.
Yeah. So
he wasn't going to deviate and be someone else for someone's enjoyment. So that's very important. What did you forget about who you really are? Okay, so I think that's number 4. Number 5. How can you show up as you? So when you've taken on all these other tips 1 to 4, and you've got a clearer picture of who you used to be, perhaps that you'd lost an element of that, and you've asked other people, what were you really like when you're younger? And you've connected in with some amazing testimonials, and you've remembered some of these amazing times when you were really in the zone and you did some amazing work. Take all that stuff and show up as you. But how do you do it? So break it down. So like, for instance, a boxer, for an example, might go through a routine before a bout. They might have a certain way of tying their laces, a certain way of their assistant putting their gloves on, whatever it is. There's a routine that they'll go through. A lot of sports people have that routine. It might be a favorite back in the day might have been a favorite pair of running spikes. I'm thinking of Chariots of Fire now. I'm going right back. What is it that's important for you to show up as you? What's the routine you need to go through as a mindset? Back to the start of saying you might have a favorite outfit you wear. I was talking to my client this morning about what she wears when she's actually in the zone. And she was like, oh, bloody hell, I haven't thought about that before. And then
that's an interesting
all these
question
came through. Hey?
That's a very interesting question.
Yeah.
What do you wear in the zone?
Yeah. Yeah. So it might be a favorite jacket, or it might be a pair of shoes, that make you feel like $1 million. Or it might be a smile. You might say, I'm going to start this meeting with a smile. I know it's going to be a tough meeting, and we're going to have some words, but I'm going to start with a smile, and I'm going to feel like we're going to get a resolution because I'm going to set it in the right way. So I'm going to start with a smile. So whatever it takes, and everyone's different, right? But whatever it takes to get in the zone and know that you are ready to show up, and you've taken all the best bits of you and you've showed up. So that's tip number 5.
Yeah.
If I'm going too quickly, tell me. But
it's perfect. It's perfect.
All right. Good.
Really good.
All right. So you ready for tip number 6?
Go for it, Justin.
Communicate from your head. Sorry, communicate from your heart, not your head. Communicate from your heart.
I was going to correct you on that one.
Not your head. Yes, autocorrect. Thank you. Yeah. So come from here.
Yeah.
Come from there, right?
Yes,
lead from the heart, like I was saying with the smile. Set your intention, and set your communications that way. So you said earlier, don't think about what everyone else is doing. Do your own thing.
Yeah.
So just because someone in your area or competitor is putting out 15 posts a day or something, and they seem to be successful at that, you don't have to do that. You might do 1 killer video a week, and you might nail it.
Yes.
It just so happens that your competitor you're comparing yourself against is no good at videos, and they're really good at posting. Or you might do a podcast. So really think about what you love doing and put that into your communications. And that's how you turn up as you, the real you, and none of this. No.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick the nose now. No. And so it's very important that we don't look around at what everyone else is doing and saying, oh, well, there's a template. I know there's some fantastic advisors out there will tell us that this is the best way of doing things. That's a great general rule, but at the end of the day, there's only one you, yeah? And you will, in your heart, know how you best communicate with people.
Yeah.
It could be verbally, it could be written, it could be face-to-face, whatever style which you feel comfortable with. And sure, you can learn a new way, but if you learn a new way, make sure it's your voice that comes through, right? The actual communication itself, the content is from you. It's written in plain English. And that's the other thing. The second part of tip number 6 is like, don't try to be a professional. Yeah. Don't think, really have to nail this by being, uber professional and looking really good. If looking good and dressing up's what you do naturally, absolutely. But that's not being professional. That's turning up as you. That's being authentic. So authenticity is much more important than being professional. And that's changed. That's changed in the last 20, 25 years, right? When I first started in business in the 1980s, showing my age there, it was really important to wear the suit properly. I remember the first sales training I got, and it was about how to hold the sales presenter from my boss. And then I was having a chat with some of the other sales reps. My first job was a repping job. And they went, oh God, yeah. Did he give you the whole spiel about how to hold the book the right way up? He hasn't got a clue. He said, be yourself, make the sale just by going in and finding out what the buyer's like. Have a conversation with them. Just ignore everything he's just told you. Because, even then it was like, make a connection. So that's, really important. Let's get rid of this professional. Yes, there is a very important point to being good at what you do and delivering value. Absolutely. But being stiff and professional because it's going to make the right impression, if that's not who you are, forget it. If you love wearing suits and you want to look like that, great, that's your thing. But we don't all have to wear suits now,
Yeah.
The tie is disappearing from a lot of arenas, thankfully. And being buttoned up, that's the other thing. When I say professional, it's not just about the look, it's also about being buttoned up the whole time, always having the right answers. People are expecting you to be fallible. And vulnerability, Brené Brown has written extensively on this. Brené Brown, an American author, you're familiar with her work, fantastic book on vulnerability. And there's a fantastic TED talk on vulnerability. And she talks about how this is kind of like the new super weapon. Yeah. It's just being yourself and going, look, I don't have the answer, but I'll get it for you. Yeah. And, we're seeing this now with Jacinda Ardern, for instance, the New Zealand Prime Minister. She has vulnerability in spades. She gets stuff done, but she's happy to admit when she's not sure. And it's a marked contrast from certain other leaders from certain countries I can mention that just are constantly wearing one of these going, I am bulletproof. I'll prove it to you. Yes. Until I fall over and die from a heart attack. Yes. So getting away from professionalism. Yeah. And finally, this final part of communicating from the heart, share your truth. Share your truth. Think about what that means. Feel into it, because that's actually quite deep. It's something within you. It could be stories that are relevant to the situation you're in, and they really make the point much clearer when you're sharing your truth, rather than talking in theoretical stuff and drawing on this experience and this case study over here and stuff like that. Share your truth. It's much more human and it comes from the heart. And you'll find that it lands far better than being uptight and professional. Yeah.
I love that.
Justin, at that point, I think it's time for me to put my purple hat on.
I think so. That's the point of difference. I love it.
My purple hat, because purple is purpose, right?
Yes, I love it.
The fact I look like an idiot doesn't matter.
By the way, it suits the branding at the back on the logo. The purple hat branding. I love it.
The purple hat, and I've even got this wonderful eagle's feather in it, which I found in the park after doing a session with a client of mine. And one of the things I do is called animal totem, where you imagine you're an animal, where you go into meditative state and you imagine meeting an animal. And this guy said, "Oh, I'm really struggling with this." And so we did the session. He wasn't sure about it. We did the session. He said to me beforehand, "No, I can't really meditate." Did the session. He got it straight away, got this eagle. And I live here quite close to the beach. We're about a 5-minute walk to the beach. And I was doing a debrief with him here in the office. And if you look that way, there's a window out to the park. And blow me down, I was halfway through discussing what the eagle meant to him. He went, "Stop! What was it? Look!" And we both turned, and there was an eagle banking. I've been living in this house for 15 years. I've never seen a bloody eagle out my window before. There was a sea eagle flying, and it was banking just at the angle he'd imagined seeing it. Wow. So, I went to the park a couple of days later and I found this feather, and I'm pretty sure it was from said sea eagle.
That's right.
There you go. This is what happens when you get into dreamlike state and you let go of all your professional training as a marketer. Because my old colleagues would have laughed at me at that story. But you know what? It's powerful. So whatever is in your heart, who you really truly are, that's what people want to buy. They don't want to buy some prefabricated, automated, mask-wearing individual who can get the job done. They want that spark. They want that extra bit. And that's what you provide. That's the real you behind the mask.
Love it. It's so well said, Justin. And you always just articulate it in such a simple way that people can walk away with and go, right, I know how to find my why. I can remove the mask and just be you and be comfortable with that. And to go back, it's funny, you mentioned LinkedIn before. For many years, I didn't use the LinkedIn platform because I thought I had to be someone
Yeah.
Even my profile picture, I had to be something to post on there. So I started to post content on LinkedIn that wasn't really me. You know, it was me, but it wouldn't be what I would usually say. And then I was like, why? Like, why don't I just post what I post on Instagram and Facebook? Just post it, and whoever doesn't want to follow doesn't follow. And what was really interesting, when I started just to copy the same post on Instagram and Facebook on LinkedIn, it created more followers. It created more people looking at, you know, the profile and checking out who is Buddy and what does Buddy do? What is the brand Buddy up? And it just came down to, because I was vibrating a little bit, this is just me. This is who I am. Take me for who I am in a respectful manner, not in a disrespectful way. Yeah. And I think it's a really important thing that when you look at the 6 tips that you gave out there, and plus the point 1.1, point 1.2, all those additional extras, I think it's really important that we understand that when we go out to the marketplace, we shouldn't hate upon the people that our personality doesn't relate to them, because there is going to be some people that your personality doesn't relate to who they are. It's going to be some people that don't want to buy your product and service. There's going to be some people that look at you and frown upon. What? You're the dream catcher? What? Yeah. What are you smoking? But that doesn't matter. Yeah. That doesn't matter. What's important is that we, you know, attend, or we go out to a marketplace each and every day, being authentic to who we are, believing in what we do, and the right people are going to gravitate towards us. And I always say that, you know, your vibe attracts your tribe. I read it somewhere, I can't remember, but it's the truth.
It's a great statement. And it's like, I think we touched on this at the last discussion. It's like you're carrying a massive magnet with you now that's going to draw all the people that relate to you. All the people that get you are going to come to you. But they can't if you're not actually reflecting the true you, because the magnetism drops off dramatically.
Yeah.
But when you're actually in your zone, you're wearing your stupid purple hat, feeling like an absolute idiot, but you know what? You're having fun with it. And if fun happens to be one of my brand ideals, if it's fun, I'll do it, right? For other people, it'll be, I don't know, accuracy or picking up the things that other people don't pick up. So it's really that self-exploration and asking yourself, what was I like before I had the edges knocked off? It's so powerful, because particularly as you get a little bit further into your work, 10, 15 years, you're not so worried now that you're not doing things well. You've mastered your craft, but you can take it at the next level by being yourself in the work that you do. That's the key. It's like an accelerator effect.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this from great, I'm giving really good service, to, okay, now I'm in the masterclass zone. This is where it's really coming together. Yeah, so that's the beauty of it. And you know what? There's another huge benefit we haven't really talked about, but this is massive. It's a secret. You're going to have a lot more fun doing it. Right?
True.
Because you don't have to wear the mask. The mask gets heavy. I used to do this exercise when I was on stage, and I'd holding this up, and my arm would start going further down, and I'd hike it back up. It's going, oh, it's getting heavier, because we've all had that feeling, you know, coming to a Friday night. And I remember being on a job that I was hating. Get to a Friday night, and you're just like, oh my God, I need the weekend just to sort of wash this thing off me, and then you dread the Monday.
Yeah.
Now, when you're in the zone and you're being yourself, and you're getting this feedback from your clients, your customers going, I love it. I love it. I'm really enjoying this. You're having much more fun. You're enjoying it much more. And that means less stress. And it means greater productivity, because you can go longer because you're actually loving it. Yeah. And that's important. But in this day and age, with mental health being such a big issue, and obviously we're living through an extraordinary year with COVID, all of this, and this is a great time, by the way, to be looking internally. It's a great time.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of us can't get out and about very much anyway. So you might as well do that work on yourself and ask some of your best clients for that feedback, because now's a great time to do it. And then as things open up, which eventually they will, who can tell when, you can come out and emerge as the butterfly, going, you know what, I've done a bit of work on myself, and I'm now seeing when I'm in the zone, and I'm now able to replicate it. Now, you might have to write some of this down. You might have to have a little cheat sheet that goes up on your wall. I've got over here. I've got a vision board, right?
Yeah.
Of all the things I want for my clients, all the things I want from the work I do. These are powerful. You know, a lot of people use vision boards. So maybe you can put the words up on the board to describe what it is you do when you show up. You know, that point number, whatever it was, 3, I think it was.
Yes.
You know, list them down, even keywords to remind yourself.
Absolutely.
And then you're just going to find yourself going back to that zone more regularly. So you don't have to look at the words; they're already instilled in you.
That's right. That's right. It's embedded, and I love that. And guys, if you want to hear more about what Justin got to offer, what he does, how he works, and so much great content out there on the social media platforms, check out brandpurpose.co. Today's topic was all about removing the mask. Last week's topic was all about finding your why. And next week's topic is you got to stay tuned. But same time, same place next week.
Yeah.
We keep delivering more and more gold, guys. And let us know in the comments. Feel free to share this post. Feel free to tag your peeps. Let us know how we can help you. And yeah, just give us a huge thumbs up, like, share, do all the rest of it, guys. We're just here to serve and add a huge amount of value to the marketplace. And it's the least that we can do in, like what Justin said, in a time where there's just so much uncertainty, so much mental health on the rise. And, you know, maybe this is the time that for you to shine. Like, you know, sometimes we just sit and wait for somebody to tap us on the shoulder and say, right, it's your turn to go. Nobody's going to tap you on the shoulder.
Yeah.
You know, you've just got to draw the line in the sand and just go for it and take that MIA, that massive immediate action. And now is the time. So, Justin, thank you very much once again. Another
absolute pleasure, buddy. It's been a lot of fun.
I'm going to love you, leave you, and thanks for everybody that joined in live. Those of you that are watching this replay, thank you also. And we'll see you next week. Same time, same place. All right, guys.
See you then.
Love you all. And peace.
I'm with you on that.
That's it. That's the brand. That's being
hey,
me.
You know what? It's not going to be the same time next week. I'll tell you why. It's my 23rd wedding anniversary.
Oh, nice. Well, maybe
so we are going to have to find a different night next week if that's okay with you and the audience. But yeah, I'll be loving it up with my wife.
Perfect.
This time next week.
Maybe we should do a live call about marriage, keeping marriage so long. That's a good
call. I'll put the wife on and she can tell you everything that's wrong with me.
She'll tell you where to put the purple hat.
Yeah. Where to stick it.
I love it. Thank you.
Love it. All right. Thanks, mate.
Bye, everyone. Bye.